So this week you're going to put together all that you've learned about making blocks and making letters into making a word and creating that in 1-point perspective. So I'm just going to give you some hints because I don't want you to spend an enormous amount of time trying to measure this all out by yourself. If you were to do a 3-letter word on a regular piece of computer paper, you are welcome to use the stencil that I have right here to make that particular word. So the letters could be 3 inches tall, and they're going to be 2 inches across, and there's going to be a 1/2 inch in between each of them. All right, so you can go by those measurements if you would like. You can make yours different. You can make them taller or shorter or fatter or wider, but it might just save you a little bit of time if you already kind of had a stencil which you could put the words into. And I'll show you my art word. So that obviously has 3 letters. So this is art. And then if I were to take it and I were to put it underneath it, I'm just going to hold it up to the window so that you can see it. You can see that the letters are falling into the blocks, okay? And then this is where it goes back into space to the vanishing point, but the actual face of the letter you can see is falling inside of each of these blocks. And art is a good word to use just because all of the letters are the medium width letters. So they're all going to be the same size block. And then I went from this, and this is what I would pass in if I was doing it. I would pass something in that looked like that. So that again, we're just shading the back side of it and having it lighter going towards the front of it. You are welcome to erase all the extra lines. It would make it look a lot neater if you did. All right. If you wanted to do a 4-letter word, so this is my rough draft for a 4-letter word. So I wanted to do a word that, I'm just going to hold it up for a second, then I'll put it back down. I wanted to use a word that had a wider letter in it. So the W is the widest letter. And then the I, the N, the D, like most letters, they're going to be regular size. So with a 4-letter word, I have most of the letters being 2 inches and then 3 inches going up. I fixed this on my final draft where the D poked out right there. So the D is 2 inches, the N's 2 inches, the I is 2 inches, and then the W ended up being 3 by 3. So I just had to, think about that when I laid this out. But since I already laid it out, if you were to have a wider letter, then you could also use this as your stencil as well. So 3 inches tall, 3 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches. And then so that I didn't have to use measuring with the ruler, I just made an X through the eye, and that gave me the center part of that part of the eye that goes up, and then I just tried to do it the same on both sides. That's why there's that X right there. And then I took this rough draft and I just put another piece of paper on top of it. I could see through it because the lines were so dark, and then I just went over it more carefully with my pencil, and then I started to do it in perspective with my vanishing point down here. And you could see also, I do find the rounded letters are kind of difficult when you're doing perspective. So I did chop the D, and what I did was I was just really careful however far I came up over here to make the chop. I came down over here, and whatever the amount I went in over here, I went in the same amount. So this triangle, this negative space triangle, and this negative space triangle should be pretty equal to one another. And then it kind of makes a cool inside part of it. And you'll know how big this is based on the fact that this will come to the vanishing ray over here. Once it touches on there, that's where that will go across and start to make the other parts of it as well. And then I colored it in one part on the top and then just shaded it on the back. And again, I left my lines here so that you could see where I was going. But when you pass it in, you probably just want to neaten it up a little bit so that it's nice and clean. All right, so I would say a 3 or a 4-letter word. Some of you are really good at this. If you want to try a 5-letter word, that's great. But for most of us, let's just do a 3 or a 4-letter word. And this will be due on May 15th. And then the next week after that, we'll start going into 2-point perspective to get ready to start building a car or a house or a city building. Okay, thanks.